excuse me, there are cases that we're looking into. And again, we have not missed any of our statutory requirements in terms of OCR. We also have a task force.
There is a backlog. There are a lot of kids in our schools that are waiting for relief. When you get rid of the people that are supposed to carry out those investigations, how are you to assure that those kids will not continue to be harmed? We are talking about so many situations in where kids are being discriminated against, and you got rid of the people that investigate those investigations, so those kids can protect themselves from discrimination.
Well, we still have a very strong and capable staff in OCR.
Then you wouldn't have a backlog if that was the case. There is a current backlog, and I would love for you to stop just saying words and to actually do the...
Let's be clear about what just happened here. This wasn't confusion. It wasn't poor preparation. It was a calculated political ambush, dressed up as moral outrage. Ilhan Omar didn't show up to ask questions. She arrived with a verdict already written, a villain pre-selected, and a soundbite ready for release. And the moment the facts refused to cooperate, the frustration showed. We're told this hearing is about student borrowers, justice, and accountability. But pay attention, because within 2 minutes, the focus swerves. Suddenly it's Trump University. Faith-based schools. Layoffs. Civil rights accusations. A sermon about just saying words. This wasn't an attempt to clarify policy. It was an attempt to perform outrage. The goal wasn't answers. It was headlines. And the mask came off almost immediately.
Thank you, Madam Secretary, for being here with us. Is it fair to assume that you are aware that when a loan borrower is defrauded by a school, that there is a provision in law called the borrower defense?
Yes, I am.
Okay. It is a straightforward concept. A student should not be forced to repay loans to schools that lied to them. We know that millions of federal grants and loans go out the door while students are left with education that is not worthy. So I was actually surprised a few weeks ago when your department quietly rescinded $37 million fine that was placed against Grand Canyon University. Can you explain why that happened?
Let me think for a second. Let me review my notes on that because there were a couple of things I wanted to make sure I covered with you. We really found that the accusations against Grand Canyon, which is a faith-based organization, and we looked at all the facts of the case.
I am familiar with the university. My question is, how are those students going to be made whole if you are not allowing the university to pay the fines? What's the plan? I'm not sure that that's the right analysis of it, but I will look into it further and get back to you. And you'll give me back a writing? Yes, I will. Okay. Because we know that, you know, the president in whom you serve had a fraudulent university called Trump University, and he himself settled 3 lawsuits before becoming president. We know that there are roughly 1.4 million borrowers who have been approved for a borrower defense discharge and are still waiting for that process. How are you clearing out that backlog? In terms of the borrower defense funds? Uh-huh. There are lists of that. I'll be happy to get back to you with those numbers. Okay. And while those students wait, can you give us a commitment that you are not going to collect that debt? Yeah, I'll have to get back to you on that, as to what the situation is. And I don't understand how that's a difficult question to say yes to. They've been defrauded. They are waiting for relief. While they wait for their relief, well, they shouldn't have to pay back that debt. Well, if they've been defrauded and it's been adjudicated that they've been defrauded, then I'll get back to you as to what the time frame is and why there's a holdup if there is. Okay. I'm not sure as I sit here right now. Wonderful. There was, I know that you've been questioned a lot on IDEA and its funding. I won't relitigate those questions. I just have two particular questions to address, or two areas to address. We know that the IDEA, that you have gotten rid of the legal team that guides the states in implementation. How are you going to rectify that?
I don't know what you mean by we've gotten rid of the legal team. We have had some reduction in force of
There was a
members.
firing of the entire legal team.
Well, we have other lawyers in place at the Department of Education, and we are
The
fully...
entire team that was for IDEA has been fired. So how are you addressing that?
Because we have other lawyers who are in place that can handle those things. And as I mentioned before, we have not missed any of our statutory requirements.
Well, I do believe that firing hurts the implementation. We also know that you have gutted the Office of Civil Rights when there is already investigation backlog. How are you going to fix the discrimination claim cases that are out there?
Well, there are, excuse me, there are cases that we're looking into. And again, we have not missed any of our statutory requirements in terms of OCR. We also have a task force.
There is a backlog. There are a lot of
There is a backlog
There are a lot of
because we
kids in our schools that are waiting for relief. When you get rid of the people that are supposed to carry out those investigations, how are you to assure that those kids will not continue to be harmed? We are talking about so many situations in where kids are being discriminated against, and you got rid of the people that investigate those investigations so those kids can protect themselves from from discrimination.
Well, we still have a very strong and capable staff in OCR.
Then you wouldn't have a backlog if that was the case. There is a current backlog, and I would love for you to stop just saying words and to actually do the work that you are charged by statute, and I yield back.
Ilhan Omar opens with borrower defense, a real legal concept designed to protect students who were genuinely defrauded. Fine. But almost immediately, she jumps to Grand Canyon University, a faith-based school, implicitly accusing it of wrongdoing, even though the Department of Education investigated and rescinded the fine. Watch the pivot. Fraud wasn't proven. The investigation reached a conclusion. But instead of asking, she frames it, how are those students going to be made whole? That's not a question. It's an assumption, and when the secretary doesn't parrot her narrative instantly, the frustration creeps in. Then, predictably, Trump University gets dragged in, because apparently no hearing is complete without resurrecting a long-settled case, even when it has zero bearing on the university in question. This is classic. If the facts don't fit, switch the villain. Next, she returns to borrower defense backlogs, a legitimate issue, but demands immediate commitments without acknowledging due process, legal timelines, or statutory constraints. Government doesn't run on vibes. It runs on law, evidence, and procedure. Whether politicians like that or not, then comes funding for IDEA, legal staff reductions, and the Office for Civil Rights. She claims entire teams were gutted, insists children are being harmed, and when the secretary explains statutory obligations are still being met, it's waved away. That's when the moment turns. Omar snaps, I would love for you to stop just saying words and actually do the work. That line tells you everything. When answers don't fit the narrative, it isn't a disagreement, it's incompetence. No evidence. No nuance. Just volume and moral superiority. This wasn't oversight. It was intimidation politics. Real accountability means following the law, not weaponizing hearings for political points. Students deserve protection. Faith-based schools deserve fairness. Officials deserve questions grounded in facts, not frustration. That's the difference between governance and grandstanding.